Whoa, chasing happiness? I'm telling you now, you don't want to chase happiness. Now, why do we chase happiness? A lot of people, even myself, to a point, you think happiness is success or possibly a relationship or possibly some materialistic thing that you can buy. I mean, there's a bunch of different things that we essentially correlate with happiness. But why is it a bad idea to chase happiness? Now, a lot of us, even including myself, have sought out happiness, right? I've tried to find happiness in relationships, and I've tried to, learn different skills to, become successful in my job and a bunch of different things in our life, right? But you find that when you do that happiness it comes in moments, but it also comes with moments of sadness. And it has taken me a really long time, right? And I've noticed that a couple years ago, I really started to notice that the fact that, you can't seek happiness. Happiness is not an external thing. Happiness is something that I think we all have to look internally. And it hasn't been until as of late, right? As of late, I'm starting to notice that your happiness is really within. And I've always noticed that it's been a mindset thing, right? Now, I've known this for a couple of years, that if you want to be happy, you can be happy at any moment. If you say that I am happy, right, that this doesn't define who I am, that I'm not going to be that person that's just going to play a victim, right, and not allow myself to be happy anymore. And I've kind of had that mindset over the past, couple of years. And it really hasn't been as of late, right? When I started doing this 30-day challenge, I started doing self-connection and realizing, I'm really finding some inner peace. I'm really finding happiness. I'm really finding joy sitting in silence and trying to connect with myself more so than I have ever felt in my life. Like, I have never felt this kind of energy, this kind of, drive, this kind of passion by just looking within. And then I start reflecting on a lot of things in my past, right? Like, again, I was trying to seek out that, perfect job. So I learned the skills I needed to get that perfect job, and I got it. And then, I was making good money. And the thing is that you get like happiness in moments, right? But it's never lasting happiness. You're always chasing for that next moment of happiness, whether it's an achievement, again, or a relationship or whatever it is. And this can also be extremely destructive in a relationship, right? If you're in a relationship and you feel like, you have that happiness from the beginning, and then, you get that sad times and you think, oh, it's going to be forever sad or forever happy. And we get in this mindset that that's the way it's supposed to be forever, when it's not the case. That when you are seeking happiness in a relationship, you're setting yourself up for failure, because the happiness, again, will come in waves. There'll be happy moments and there'll be sad moments. And this is why we should never seek happiness in a relationship, again, or in success. Where what we really have to do is actually look internally. And doing this internal search that I've been doing for 30 days, is again, like, I really feel happy. Like, when I come out of these sessions, I truly feel happy. I truly feel joy. I truly feel excitement and passion in the things that I do. And that is not something I've ever felt, trying to go with a mindset. And the mindset, yes, I do feel better in the moment, right? But it's never like lasting. And so that's something to always be aware of, that even when I do these self-connections, right, it puts you in a state to where you don't, essentially attribute anything to being positive or to being negative, but just being, right? And so when you're just being, that you're always in this kind of state, right? This kind of like understanding that you don't feel bad about anything, you feel good, right? And whatever happens, and there'll be some things that can happen that you're like, man, that really makes me mad or whatever. And if you allow yourself to gravitate towards that and identify it as that, then your day is kind of shot and it bleeds over into everything else, right? Whereas if, even on the positive side, if you think about something, it just kind of bleeds over everything. And so you kind of drowned out every other thing that's going on because of that one, positive thing. So it's to understand that you don't want to be too much on the positive side, too much on the negative side, but to understand that, you have to really find happiness within, and you have to spend the time to find that, right? And I've noticed just after, 4 weeks of doing these self-connections where you essentially sit in silence has really brought that energy, right? Has brought that happiness. And then the more I reflect back, it's like, we seek happiness when ultimately it's just something within, right? We look for that enlightenment, right, on the inside. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, this is not what I want to hear. I thought you were going to tell me that, happiness is, something I can achieve, when it is something we can achieve if we work on it internally. And so, like myself, I think we need to stop looking externally for happiness, because it's only going to come in moments. Nothing is going to be permanently make you happy, right? And there's always those quotes about everything is in moments. And I do believe externally, everything comes in moments, where ultimately, if you are working internally for your happiness by sitting with your thoughts, and I know that can be extremely hard for a lot of people, even for myself, even when I was doing meditation over a year and a half ago, sitting with myself was hard. Like when I first started doing meditating, I thought that's what you had to do, was just sit by yourself, and I couldn't do that for 5 minutes, right? I was going nuts. And then to ultimately find out that, this is ultimately where you want to be. And so I started doing meditation and doing a bunch of different affirmations and gratitude, different things that I kind of built up, right, that I learned out of essentially a book to do my meditation. And that did help with all the negativity that was surrounding me at the time, but I wasn't connecting with myself, and I wasn't really finding this energy, right, that you get out of doing these self-connections. And I am really finding, again, right, like this inner peace, and I start looking forward to it, where, meditation, it felt good, right, but it felt like it was more forced, right, because I had to force myself to sit down and start doing it. Where these, it's like I look forward to doing it because I feel so great after, right? You feel that positive energy, right? And not trying to label things here again, but I mean, you feel different and you feel alive and you feel excited, right? Like you want to go out and do work, you want to go out and exercise and eat healthy, and you want to do all these different things because you feel good, right? Because the energy within you is good, and you really notice that when you start doing these self-connections. And again, stop seeking, happiness on the outside, because it's going to be, it's again never going to be a permanent thing, right? You're never going to just find happiness like, oops, there's happiness and now I'm happy forever, because that just does not happen that way. And when you can go within, right? Now, it's not saying that going within, you're just going to find it and it's there forever. It is something you do have to work on as well, but we need to stop looking from the outside, because the outside it's not the same, right? Like I've been there where I've had the job, and I've had the relationship, and I've had all these different things, these achievements and everything, and it's just a different feeling, right? You think what happy, right? You think about the excitement and everything you get in that particular moment, and we all claim that to be happiness, right? But when you actually look internally, and what I've noticed over the past 30 days is doing this is I never really knew happiness. And when you concentrate within and just be with yourself, and I know, again, it can be hard for a lot of people. It was hard for me in the beginning. And when you sit with yourself, you really find, again, a new energy that you never thought existed. And this is what's so great about it, is it feels like true happiness, right? And I start reflecting back on other things, and I'm like, that wasn't really happiness. That was, it was just excitement in the moment. And you think you're happy because you get like this, this like aura around you, right? You feel like, ooh, I'm like walking on the clouds, and then you do this and you're like, man, I feel energy, I feel happy, I feel joy, I feel all these, positive things, right? And again, it's not something I've found like ever in my life, and I've achieved a lot, and it all comes back to that, right? It all comes back to really how close are you to yourself, because that's ultimately where you're going to find your happiness. And if you're not happy with yourself, you can go out and try to seek happiness as much as you want, but you're going to find out that you're going to be right back in the same boat. You may achieve that thing, and for that moment, yes, you will be happy. But then, you have those other moments, right? Again, it cycles. So then you have those sad moments. Okay, well, that's not as fulfilling as I thought it would be. You reach the end goal when you got to look internally. And you really got to understand that internally is where you're going to find your happiness. That you don't have to go buy it. You don't have to be in a relationship for that. You don't have to go achieve that thing. That it is all internal. And I know I do talk about mindset a lot, and talk about how that mindset, setting your mindset up to be happy anytime, right? You can do that anytime through the mindset. But it is all essentially all internal workings, right? It's all internal understanding that you want to spend the time with yourself. You really want to go deep on yourself. And I think a lot of people that go there and realize this are people that have had really traumatic things happen in their life, and to know that when you sit there in silence is where you truly find yourself, right? And then you go out and you challenge yourself to do all these different things, only to come back and kind of just re-look at yourself and understand that your true joy is within, and your true joy is knowing who you truly are, and understanding who you are, and understanding your passions and all these different things, and realizing that, tomorrow is not guaranteed. Like any moment, there's so many different things. And I've been reading this book called The Untethered Soul, and he talks about this concept as far as to understand that at any moment, something crazy could happen and we could all be gone, right? And so if you just look within, right? If you lived your life in that aspect that you can be gone at any moment. That what if somebody told you today that you had a week left? What would you do in that week? And I know that's easier said than done, because a lot of people are like, yeah, well, if I actually knew, then I would. But, truth of the matter is there's a lot of different things that can happen in life. And if you're out trying to seek happiness through some other means, those are all moments. And you'll just be looking for the next moment. Or if you look internally, you'll realize that internally you can create your own happiness, and it doesn't take much. It just takes you sitting in silence and connecting with yourself. And you find new energy, new passion, new happiness, new joy. You find all these things as opposed to going out and trying to chase that happiness. So if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And until next time, I will see you guys later.